Thou hast come down into a struggling world to aid a blind and suffering mortal race. So this is what I was telling you last time. This is the full commentary on what we are. Full commentary on what we are. Blind, suffering, mortal race. We don't open our eyes, we don't open to our joys of existence. Mortal race. To open to light the eyes that could not see. He's talking of blind, therefore eyes that could not see. To bring down bliss in the heart of grief, because she's talking of suffering. So clarification: what is a blind eye? Light is not seen by the eyes. To open to light the eyes that could not see. To bring down bliss into the heart of grief. So these two, blindness and suffering, are amplified in these two lines. Well, actually, to open to light, L is with capital L, light. I would have made bliss also be capital, to bring down bliss. For a kind of a parity, you see. Well, if at all, you see. This L and this B, if they have to have that parity, you see. To make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. If thou save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering feel as thine. That is what we have to. We have to accept human suffering, feel it. This is what we saw last time in Mother's. Does the Divine Mother suffer when she takes human birth here? Yes, she does. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou camest to heal. The daybringer must walk in darkest night. He who saved the world must share its pain. This is exactly what we saw last time, Mother's saying that. And both these lines are monosyllabic lines to bring out that full emphasis. He who saved the world must share its pain. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? If he knows not grief, does it mean that Christ must be nailed on the cross to find relief for grief? Hammering like that, you see. 4 nails, you see. Should he be nailed, you see? Perhaps not that. It is not the physical grief. It is the grief of the deeper soul. In identification with the grief of this world, it is that which is important. Who has suffered, endured all for us. That's what Mother has said about Shaman who's passing away. Who endured, suffered all for us. A work Shaman writes to his brother, a work, painful work. He speaks of painful work. So when you are talking of he who saved the world, it is not the physical alone or the Christ type, which is of course there physically also, but it is a much, much deeper wound within. It is that which has to suffer. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? If far he walks above mortality's head, how shall the mortal reach that too high path? Well, this voice is arguing to Savitri Like a schoolboy. Savitri is a school girl. She is trying to explain to her like that, you see, but it's a fact. If one of theirs they see scale heaven speaks, men then can hope to learn that Titan climb. Yet I am not too sure whether they will learn. Will they? If one of theirs sees skill heaven speaks, men then can, that is why I say can hope. Not sure that he will. God must be born on earth and be as man. Again, you see how emphatic this line is, monosyllabic. God must be born on earth and be as man. So when Shivandu was asked by Narudbaran that the suffering of the avatar is a sham, is a pretext, is artificial. After all, he is divine, how can he suffer? How can he suffer? Shivandu replied to him, he suffers much more deeply than that, you see. He's not sham. He's not just putting on the garb of people suffering. He is suffering. That man, being human, may grow even as God. So, in other words, for the human to grow as God, the condition is that God must be born as man. That's the condition. Otherwise, human cannot grow. He must be born. In fact, in other places, it is a mutual debt. God owes a debt to man, man owes a debt to God. It is that fulfillment, mutual debt. He who saved the world must be one with the world. See again, all these lines are monosyllabic lines purposefully. He who saved the world, he who saved the world must be one with the world. He who would save, second foot, the world, third foot, must be one, anapes, with the world, again anapes, two anapes. All suffering things contained in his heart speak and bear the grief and joy of all that lives. His soul must be wider than the universe and feel eternity as its very stuff. So, what the voice is telling, what the voice is basically giving a prescription of how the avatar should be. Avatar should have these qualities, these attributes. He must have these attributes. Then only he is an avatar. His soul must be wider than the universe and feel eternity as its very stuff, rejecting the moment's personality, know itself older than the birth of time. This is the most occult line. Very occult line, very deep line. See, suddenly a statement is made which belongs to a different category of knowledge altogether. See, rejecting the moment's personality and feel eternity, they are kind of understandable. But know itself older than the birth of time. Even before time was born, he knows all that. He is beyond time. He steps into time. That is the birth and time. And feel his soul must be wider than the universe, know itself, that soul must know itself older than the birth of time. In our case, our soul does not know that it is older than the birth of time. We are born in time, in the process of time. But we don't know that actually the soul has its birth much before this happened. No, its cell order. The reference is basically to our Jivatman, the central being of us, who is always there in the transcendent, beyond time. It is from the transcendent, the central being has decided to plunge into this creation, into time. So the central being knows already beyond time, but when it is born here, it has no, I am not here, I have come from there. I come from there. Actually, we have seen that thing many times, but let us see again. This was an answer to Savitri's mother. Narada is telling why this has happened to to the soul. Why this suffering? Who has imposed this law? And Narada says, look, madam, this is your own choice. You have opted for this. I can't help it. You have consented to come here like this, so you have to accept it. 111.1. O mortal who complains of death and fate, accuse none of the harm thyself has caused. You have caused all these difficulties. It is your option. Why you are accusing somebody else? God? No. You have selected this one. This troubled world thou hast chosen for thy home. Thou art thyself the author of thy pain. You have created your own pain. And then he narrates, Narada, once in the immortal boundlessness of the self, in the transcendent, in a vast of truth and consciousness and light in Satchidananda, in the vast of truth and consciousness and light, the soul looked out from its felicity. It was in Satchidananda, happy, merry, etc. And it looked out. Let us see what is there around. Otherwise, it was happy there. It felt the Spirit's interminable bliss. It knew itself deathless, timeless, spaceless one. It saw the eternal, lived in the infinite. So it was happy there in the transcendent all along. Then, curious of a shadow thrown by truth, suddenly some kind of an inquisitiveness appeared in his soul. You see, why the shadow here down below? What is it for there? Let me see, there is something interesting in it, in the shadow, you see. Then, curious of a shadow thrown by truth, it strained towards some otherness of self. It was drawn to an unknown face, peering through night. It sensed a negative infinity. You got it? It sensed a negative infinity, a voice supernal, whose immense excess, imitating God and everlasting time, offered a ground for nature's adverse birth, and matter's rigid and unconscious one, harboring the brilliance of a transient soul that lies of birth and death and ignorant lie. So that is how we plunge here. So that is the birth in time of the soul. So much before that, no, it's cell older than the birth. Before you jump here into this curious shadow, you were like that. You thought the shadow is curious, so you have jumped here. You have come into time, and that is the birth in time, you see. Feel eternity as its very star, rejecting the moment's personality. Know itself older than the birth of time. It is a reference to that our Jivatman is already there, immortal, always there, beyond time. It has jumped into time, that is the birth. Creation, an incident in its consciousness, Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire. Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire. So, in that creation, this huge, mighty star, brilliant star, Arcturus is, I think, 30 light years away from the sun, is much brighter than the sun. And this star was known even to the ancient. You could see that thing, see the star. Belphegor is a character of a vast titanic nature. Arcturus and Belphegor, what are they after all? These huge, big stars or these giant creatures and all that. They are just small grains of fire circling in a corner of his boundless self. So in the transcendental creation, there are small little points, you see, in the immensity of this creation, circling in a corner of his boundless self, the world's destruction, a small transient storm, let it be destroyed, who cares? It will come and go away. The creation is not going to go away. These ups and downs are there, but they are small incidents in the course of his existence. The world's destruction, a small transient storm. Yes, it is true also when you think of it. The Second World War, well, today it looks a very small thing now, you see. Nothing happened as if, you see. Nothing happened. It gained beautiful. In fact, Second World War has done something positive. It has destroyed the past. It has destroyed the past. All that was dark, that had to be destroyed. It is that. And out of that fire, burning fire, as if the whole thing is put to flames, and out of that flame rose a new creation. A phoenix has risen from its own dead body. So the new creation really has started after the Second World War. In a certain sense, it was necessary that to have happened. Then only the past could be burned and destroyed and removed to clear the way. You can imagine the kind of advances which have been made after 1945. The whole world is tremendously different. You are going to moon, you are going to Mars, you are going here, you are going there, everywhere. In no time you cross one place to the other place like that. You see, talk internet, everything is in your hand. See, a new creation has come out of its own fire. The phoenix has risen, has taken a new birth. The world is, therefore, this is, in a certain sense, a good thing. This destruction is small, transient storm. At that time, it looks terrible, calamitous, horrible, all this kind of thing. But nothing. The calm infinity it has become. If thou wouldst a little loosen the vast chain, draw back from the world that the idea has made. The world has been made by the idea. What you are saying is your kind of an idea which has given rise to this world. You have to draw back from that. I should be like this, you should be like that. This is what you imagine, you think, you make an idea of it. And it is from that you have to draw back. You see. Now what he says, what the voice says, the world is made from the idea, and therefore, Savitri, you would have withdraw from that, draw back from that. It belongs to a kind of a formation of a type of a mind. It is not the real idea, it is only the idea. It is mental, it is something of this creation, phenomenal. It is from that, it is not a real idea. So because this is an idea, therefore you have to withdraw from that. It should be like this, like that, etc. You imagine. You see. Draw back from the world that the idea has made, and he is again emphasizing mind, connection with that. thy mind selection from the infinite. So there are infinite ideas possible. You have selected this or that. You better withdraw from that. Mind selection from the infinite. Thy senses gloss on the infinitesimal down. Then shalt thou know the great bond, how the great bondage came. When you have withdrawn from the idea, then you know how the bondage has come. The bondage has come because of mind and senses. Bondage has come because of that. So then you will know what it is actually.